Hey,
Where did we get to? We've got the UK, we've got Spain, we've got the Netherlands. We didn't establish whether we've got anyone on from South Africa. Any other countries on tonight? Is there anybody from Germany here?
I think there's a message that somebody's from South Africa.
In the chat?
Yeah.
See, I knew you were in your PJs, Kim. Yes. Sorry?
One from the US.
Oh, got somebody from the US and South Africa. Hi, Jerry from the US. Hi, Lisanne from South Africa. Good. So how are we doing for time? It's kickoff time.
It is.
The room is filling up. I'm just going to go over to my screen. Okay, Andy, whenever you're ready, you can put the room into mute if you like.
Yeah, remember you've got to unmute yourself. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you. We've got a great night planned for our team call this evening. Just kick off with some recognition. Enrolling this month is going like crazy. So last month, just to bring you up to date, we actually had a record enrolment month. So the most that had ever been enrolled into the Total Very Essence group last month. I've got the number here. It was 381 enrollments last month. This month we have, how many days have we got left? Is it 5 or 6? I'm losing track of time. We've got nearly a week left and we are at 378. So probably by the end of this call, we will have smashed, because literally enrollments are coming in every hour. We will have smashed through last month's record. So it's amazing. So well done to all of you that have contributed to those fantastic results. So let's have a look. May so far, month to date, all of the people on the screen have enrolled 4 new people. So congratulations to Seth, Azar, Kevin Hotwood, Janine Lembretz, Victoria Gotham, Kim Clark, Gemma McLean, Peter Ria and Andy Boswell. So a great number, and we had actually so many on 3. Normally by this point in the month we're still recognising 3, but we would have been here all night just to get through them all. So congratulations to you anyway, however many you have enrolled. 5, congratulations to David Williams, Debbie Dono and Tanya Juice. And then we move to 6, very many congratulations to Jan Alexander and Natasha Waits. We go to 7, congratulations to Kim Elberg and Neil Young. Can we get any more? Yeah, we go up to 8, and congratulations to Alan Tom. Not sure who that person is, up 14. And then top of the tree, still on 16, is Alison Thomas, who was top last month and is looking like she's going to hit the #1 position again this month. So congratulations to everyone. Amazing, amazing results for May. Of course, we've only got a few days left. I just wanted to mention the salad bell oil, which I find it really hard to call it that. I will never ever think of anything other than tell, but hey ho. But what we have to deal with in Europe are change of names. But a little post that I put up on the Very Essence group that I thought was really great. It's probably not totally compliant, so we want to keep it into our closed groups, but it will show you a lot more information about what this oil does. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I know that you might be in a position, because we've only got a few days left, where customers have missed out on this, and they probably are not in a position to put another 200 PV order in, or it might even be yourselves and you're not in the position to put a 200 PV order in. Can I just say, from experience, I know that if you reach out to customer service, you know, they have to do a bit of an exception, but they're normally really good. So if it's you personally, or if it's a customer personally that really wants this Salabou, and say they've put an order in already for 150 PV, if they did want to top it up and they reached out to customer service, the chances are they will get a favourable situation on there. So that might just help you, one, get this amazing product for yourself for free, because you don't want to miss out on that, but also help a few of your customers get it, because it's worth like £115, I think it is, retail price. So it's amazing. So it's got lavender, sandalwood, myrrh, helichrysum, which on its own is like a 70 odd pound buy just to buy that one oil, and of course precious rose. So lots and lots of great things that oil does. Did you watch the Elevate European Web Convention or Webvention this last week? Some amazing speakers in there. Just remember, you've got until the 29th of the month to watch it if you haven't already. Actually, maybe you could pop in the chat. I'd love to hear from you what your thoughts were on the Webvention if you watched it, and also what were your favourite bits. Did you love it? Was there particular standout moments for you? Are you loving the new products? Yeah, so what did we have? What was revealed to us in new products? So we've got the citronella. I don't think that's coming for a couple of months, but it's, at least we know it's on its way. It's been an oil that I think has really been missing from our range. So many people know about citronella and know that it's an amazing oil for the summer months particularly. Then we've got celery seed, which I'm really interested to get my hand on. That isn't even one I've used before, so that's going to be interesting. I can imagine that's going to be lovely on salad dressings and things like that, but it'd be great to get our hands on that. And then of course the yarrow pom, the body renewal serum, and also the complex as well. That is that. And then the adaptive oil and the adaptive roll-on. And then the thing I was waiting for, because I think we might have some more babies coming soon, I'm hoping anyway, is the amazing baby range. We've got the hair and body wash and the nappy cream, or as they say in the US, the diaper cream. So this is amazing. Obviously it hasn't got any parabens in or any other nasties, and so I couldn't wait. This has been like way over a year, I think, since they've had these products in the US. So eventually we have them coming our way. So let's have a look. Let's see what did you like the most? So let's see. I heard today, I don't know whether any of you heard this, but there was actually about 18,000 people across Europe watching the Webvention. Margaret loved the sourcing panel. That was amazing, wasn't it? Of course, I agree with you, Kim. Nothing beats a live event. I think the fact that they pulled it off in a super quick time in, I don't know, what was it, about 20 odd languages, was pretty incredible. But it was very obvious, like in the founders' eyes, that they just wanted to be there and hugging people and seeing people face to face. But I think they did a brilliant job under the circumstances. The nitty gritty from the doctors, yeah, so much credibility when you put the doctors on stage talking about doTERRA. Loving it so far. So Vicky, you're partway through by the sounds of it. Adaptive yarrow palm, brilliant. Emily Wright was amazing, wasn't she, on the 10 core oils? Enjoyed the convention, watched quite a bit, finished it, yarrow palm. Now, if you're feeling like I'll answer that in a moment, Andy Boswell. If you're feeling a little bit like you've missed out, then there is still time. They're still allowing people to register and go and watch the Webvention. It's €12, you know, and you've got so much. It's 3 days worth of program, so you can still get it. Andy has just asked me when it's due. Yeah, it'll be a miracle. Love the Elevate webinar for sure. Awesome. Okay, yeah, next year's convention, I think it's just going to be at the same. It's definitely going to be in Rome. I'm not sure that we've heard an actual fixed date for it, but it is definitely going to be the same time of the year in Rome. Dr. Hill was awesome. Yeah, brilliant. So glad you loved it. So that's enough of me for this evening. You'll be pleased to know, because we've got a special guest speaker in tonight. We were just wondering whether she was coming in. We were sort of like getting a bit palpitations there with our Rachel, but we're so privileged to have Rachel in our team, or in our wider team in doTERRA, because she has her own college. It's called the Cambridge College of Holistic Healing, and she is always so generous with her knowledge and her time, and she's been on our calls before. We always get amazing feedback when Rachel comes on. So we are going to hand over the call now to Rachel and let her do her stuff. Are you there, Rachel?
Yes, hi there, I'm here. Sorry I worried you at the beginning. I'm always doing that, aren't I? Sorry.
You're okay. You're here now. We're just over to you.
I'm here now, yes. So let me screen share. So lovely to see so many of you here. Let me go.
You pulled in the crowds.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think you already do that, don't you? I think
well,
you
we've got 45, so we've got a good number.
Excellent. That just makes me even more nervous.
You'll be brilliant.
Right.
Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, right. So I think I've screen shared now. So you should all, can you all see that okay? Yeah, I've screen shared okay. Brilliant. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, so I run the Cambridge College of Holistic Health here in beautiful Cambridge, and Andy asked me to do something a little bit different today. I think you quoted on the phone the other day, and now for something completely different, Monty Python, and I thought, yeah, something a little bit different, because I know we get amazing training on the oils, we get amazing training from the leaders on how to do the business side of things. So I just thought something that I actually really enjoy doing, I find it a little bit different, and it just adds extra excitement to my aromatherapy practice, is actually enhancing how I use my essential oils. So when we use essential oils, we obviously know about the 3 common ways of using them, and that's topical application, which is obviously on the body, inhalation, and also ingestion. But how do we know which to use and when to use them? So obviously I'm not just going to talk about this. I'm going to spend the first part of this talking about this, and then I'm going to go on to 4 different techniques I would like to teach you that you can enhance alongside using your essential oils, and we'll have a little bit of a practice in one of them where you can do some kind of real-time healing on yourself. But before we get to that, just to kind of cover the basics, which I'm sure you all already know anyway, because of the amazing training we have and the fact that all of you are so very well versed on essential oils anyway, which is why you're here. So topical application, the first thing to mention is never to apply essential oils, so topical on the body, never to apply them with something like petroleum jelly, Vaseline, things like that. I know that loads of people love using Vicks. Obviously we're not talking about essential oils with doTERRA, but sometimes when you talk about using essential oils, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, you know, I use my Vicks and it's a godsend. But the thing is, when we use essential oils and we add them to a carrier base in order to put them on our body, if the molecular size is too big, it will not actually get into the system and start doing its magic. The molecule size is too large when we are using anything like Vaseline and things like that. So the first thing to mention is always to try, if you can, to use a good carrier oil, something like our fractionated coconut oil. I'm a big lover of grapeseed oil because sometimes I'm not 100% sure if people have nut allergies or not, and so grapeseed oil is a very good general one for a lot of people, and it's not too thick and gloopy. If you work with babies, calendula oil is a really lovely oil to be using when you add your essential oils to it. The best way to topically apply essential oils to get the best out of them is for chronic conditions. So these are diseases that have lasted for longer than about 3 months. It's where you're going to be covering a larger area of the body, and you're going to be doing it for a longer period of time. Now, what I recommend is if you are treating people with specific conditions, it's always good to actually be recommending that the people use them on a regular basis. And so I've just got 3 little examples of bottles that I use. I use bottles like this size here, if you can see that. I also use my smaller ones. Quite often I'll have a pipette in that as well. Pipettes are like these here, which you've probably recognized. Or if I'm making up, and I'll show you in a minute, if I'm making up something I want to make it a little bit more prettier, then sometimes I have these like little mason bottles. Now all of these are what I will make my own blends in. I have arthritis of the spine, and so I only ever make my blends in these size of bottles, because I use my blends every morning and every night when I'm applying, because obviously arthritis is a chronic condition, as is fibromyalgia, as is pain, anything like that. I've put a list at the bottom of some examples of chronic disease examples. So you can see that therefore when you're applying topically, these are the conditions that you're going to be really working on, encouraging people to apply every morning and every night, all over the body, just like you would a body lotion. The benefit as well of applying topically rather than maybe inhaling for certain conditions or ingesting is because also when you're working on things in particular like pain, for example, which I know an awful lot of people suffer from, then by applying the essential oils with something like peppermint or meadowsweet, you're getting an instantly mild form of something called cryotherapy, which is where the oil gives an instant sensation of coolness to the skin, and this then sends a message to the brain and then to the rest of the body to work with the pain receptors. So it actually lessens the sensation of pain in the body just by that cryotherapy healing that you're getting from applying something on the skin. So when you're working with something, for example, like pain, then using peppermint will create that instant sensation of coolness, which will then start to release those endorphins, which are natural pain relieving chemicals. So before the oils have even got through the pores of the skin into the epidermis, the dermis and the bloodstream eventually, before the oils have time to do their work, you're already getting that benefit from that sensation on your pain receptors, and as a knock-on effect, the endorphins, those pain relieving chemicals. So that's why if you're working with any of those chronic conditions, then it's best to actually apply topically. Okay, let me move on. But where to apply them topically? Whereabouts would you apply them? Does it matter where you apply them, basically? So here's a list of a few things, a chart of a few areas that you can apply to different parts of the body if you're treating certain conditions. What I will say is that when you're applying oils to certain parts of the body, especially if you're mixing them in a larger container like this or this, then you're instantly going to be encouraged to do something which is called effleurage. It's where you put some of the oil on your hands, and then you're going to be doing long sweeping movements to all over your body. Even if you've got something like high blood pressure, now I'll just say something, I am not being compliant with this talk, so please just bear that in mind when you hear me talking. It's really hard for, and I know Lisa will probably agree with this and a few other people who are qualified therapists, aromatherapists, really hard to actually be compliant when you're talking about the power of these oils and helping heal and support the healing of certain conditions. So please bear that when I'm talking to you. I'm not being compliant. So on the left hand side, I've got some examples of some blends that you can actually make up yourself to work on supporting some of these conditions. And these are chronic conditions. They're going to be covering a large part of the body, so you're instantly going to be doing that effleurage movement when you're applying the oil. The effleurage movement will encourage blood circulation and oxygenation, carrying oxygen to all the parts of the cells. So that in itself is already starting to create a healing process. On top of that, you've got the benefits of the oils, and on the left, as I say, I've written a few of my own recipes that I've used regularly with people to good effect and good success. So I've got high blood pressure, I've got asthma, which I use myself and healed my own asthma with. I've got 2 different pain blends, one of them for people that maybe can't have the wintergreen, and so one of them for people that can tolerate wintergreen. And also, when you're applying topically, remember that it's not just a carrier oil that you're applying with. You can also make your own aromatherapy shampoos to heal lots of conditions. For example, scalp psoriasis is one example I've put here. Getting a 50 ml coconut-based plain shampoo. Anyone that wants any stockists or things like that, I know that doTERRA do an amazing shampoo and conditioner range, which I absolutely love. But if you want to treat specific conditions, then you do want to be adding those targeted oil blends to it. So getting a plain coconut oil based shampoo and then adding tea tree, bergamot and chamomile is a really successful recipe for working on scalp psoriasis. Adding it to a bottle like this, just tipping it up and down to immerse the blend, don't shake it vigorously, and then that can be applied. So you're not just talking about topically applying using a carrier oil like grapeseed or fractionated coconut. Remember that our healing oils do far much more than just that, okay? So as I've said, this is topical application. What about inhalation? Now, we know already about inhalation, and we know that this is one of the best ways of working with emotional issues. Any of you that have been on my emotional aromatherapy course will know this already, because we talk about this in the first session. We know that we inhale the oil, the molecules start to go through the limbic, through the olfactory system, through the nasal cavity, up to the limbic part of the brain. That's when they start doing their work. And obviously then we're also touching on the areas such as the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, the pituitary gland and the amygdala. And on here on the right hand side you can see what are all of those parts of the brain linked to in our bodies. But it's not just for emotions that inhalation is a really good way of administering essential oils, because as you can see up here, you can see that direct inhalation, so that's obviously cupping and inhaling, or directly applying as in a bowl of water if you're working maybe on your nasal, any sort of congestion or maybe asthma and things like that, then you're getting a really high concentration of those really concentrated oil molecules out of your little bottle of oil. Diffusing is slightly less effective because it depends on the size of the room, depends on how concentrated your oil blend is, but direct inhalation is the most effective way of working on a lot of different areas of the body. So we're not just talking emotions, although it is the best way of working on emotions. And as you can see here on the right hand side, when we inhale, we've already looked at the olfactory system and the limbic part of the brain, but as we move through you can see what all of these functions have. The hypothalamus can work with blood pressure, thyroid function, adrenaline, so that's fight or flight, stress hormones. The pituitary gland can work on hormones such as melatonin, which regulates sleeping and waking. So if you have an awful lot of people that suffer with apathy or chronic fatigue syndrome and things like that, then obviously their melatonin levels are going to be out of balance. So you need to be working on the pituitary gland. Inhaling through the nasal cavity is going to work on the pituitary gland. It also works on the pineal gland, such functions as the digestive system or heart and blood vessel function, even swallowing and sneezing. Then we get down to the medulla oblongata, which actually works on the fight or flight in the body, which I've already touched on. But then we move down really excitingly to the spinal cord, and as we know, the spinal cord connects our body to the rest, connects our brain to the whole of our body through all of these nerves that come off the spinal cord. So this, by directly inhaling the essential oil, you are going to be actually working on all of these parts of the body. And as you can see, each part of the vertebrae deals with different aspects here of our body. So we can see that there's an awful lot more that can be helped just through inhaling. I say just, it's the most powerful way of working with oils. Within a matter of seconds, 7 seconds, you're getting that oil through the whole of your body. And a lot of people find it very easy to carry around one of these amazing, I mean, I love these, the roller balls, carry them around in your pocket and just instantly work on things the whole time. But another thing that we can work on by inhaling is also the endocrine system, which is basically the hormonal system in our bodies. Now, as we know, hormones impact on every aspect of our being. And so by inhaling, we can actually start working on all of our endocrine system here. So we're working on the glands, working on the tissues, the organs, how the pancreas functions. We're working on the thyroid gland, anybody that has thyroid issues. All of these parts of the body can be helped, pancreas, just by inhaling. So again, anyone that comes to you with concerns like this and they think they've got to be applying it on their bodies, or they've got to be bathing in it, and sometimes making it a little bit harder to actually use, then, you know, these are the most versatile way of administering these essential oils to help with an awful lot of different conditions. So what about ingestion? Well, the best way of actually ingesting is actually to put the oil with something like coconut. So putting it with some kind of fatty oil so that it encapsulates the oil molecule when you ingest it. I personally prefer putting them in a veggie cap because, again, that protects the oil, it protects my gut and my digestive system. Sometimes I can get a little bit irritated by things, so that's just kind of protecting it a little bit further. But again, by ingesting, we can work on an awful lot of different conditions, and we can see here we can support the immune system and its function. And I have put a recipe here which is an immunity shot, which is really, really effective. So anybody that suffers with reoccurring issues, constant coughs, colds, infections, you pick them up really quickly. Boosting your immune system is a really good way, and this shot can be taken in either honey and coconut oil, just directly in the mouth, on the spoon, or in one of our little veggie caps. So again, helps with antioxidant issues. One of the best ways for healing with ingestion is working on the indigestion, on the digestive system. So anybody that suffers with indigestion or occasional stomach upsets and things like that, it's going to be really beneficial for ingesting. But also working on supporting the nervous system. We know we have those beautiful Serenity capsules, which I love, but we can also work by putting lavender in one of the capsules, just plain old lavender, 2 or 3 drops in a capsule. If you suffer with anxiety, once or twice a day is just amazing, and it's really, really effective and very, very quickly works as well. But the best way obviously is putting it in that capsule or adding it to a fatty acid, a fatty substance, so that it helps with the absorption levels. So once we've done all that and we've looked at the main 3 areas, we need to realize that obviously not all oils are what's known as generally regarded as safe. And if you type this in to Google, especially if you put doTERRA before the word grass, G-R-A-S, then you will get a list that will come up of all the oils that are recommended as generally regarded as safe to ingest, just for your peace of mind. Now, doTERRA have also done this brilliant chart as well, which tells us whether we can ingest it or not. But it's just in case, for example, they bring new oils out and they're not on the list, then it allows you to go on, and that website is permanently updated on Google, so you can get a list of the generally regarded as safe oils if you're making up some kind of recommendation for people. But the reason why, so that's the 3, roughly the 3 ways of administering essential oils, which we all know about anyway. But one thing I wanted to focus on when I was doing this talk was the fact that, are we treating rather than healing? Because quite often we fall into this trap of actually just exchanging a pill for an ill that we would get from the chemist or the GP or something, and we're just exchanging it for basically the equivalent. So rather than taking a Rennie, I will take Zengest. But the thing is with that, and that's great, we know it works, but do we really want to be just exchanging that pill for that ill, or do we actually want to be encouraging whole healing, whole body healing? When we look at Eastern medicine and Western medicine, we can see from this visual here that basically Eastern medicine is all about nourishing and supporting for whole body healing, whereas Western medicine is more about isolation and treatment. So we're isolating a condition, we're not really looking at the bigger picture, and then we're just treating that condition. So basically, like I've said, we're having a pill for an ill. So what we don't want to be doing with our essential oils, I mean, they're great, yes they work, we know they work, but what we want to be doing for long-term healing is actually encouraging whole body support and whole body nourishment. And so how do we actually do this with our essential oils? Okay, so as we know, The mind is the most powerful medicine. We know that thoughts create things. We see this all the time. But what we want to be doing is creating intentional healing. So what do I mean by that? Well, you've all probably heard of the word psychosomatic. It's used quite a lot. I've basically put the term here. The term psychosomatic disorder is mainly used to mean a physical disease that is thought to be caused or made worse or better by mental factors. So basically, we are creating, in line with that explanation, we are creating the disorder. But in my mind, if we can create a negative aspect of something, then we can also create a positive aspect of it. So we can actually use our minds to create healing. Because what we don't want to do with the pill for the ill scenario, where we just exchange a sleeping pill for a serenity pill, or a Reni for a Digesten or Zengest, we don't want to be encouraging something called learned helplessness. A lot of you that work in health and care will know all about this term. It's basically where a person comes to believe that they are unable to control or change the situation for themselves. So they become reliant on something else. So they rely on that pill or they rely on that oil, which is great. But what we want to be doing is we want to be empowering people so that they feel like they're actually creating their own protocol for their own whole body healing. So how do we do this when we're working with our essential oils? Well, there's a really good book all about the mind and the psychological responses to physical illness by a lady called Caroline Myss, and it's called The Creation of Health. And it looks at why sometimes issues can come about in the body, and when we look back at when maybe they first began, we can see what first caused that condition, or what was the beginning of that condition. So if we can work on supporting somebody through all of that, then we can then nip in the bud whatever it is that they're suffering with, and improve it. I'm not saying cure, but I'm saying we can improve it. We can empower the person, whether it's ourselves or a customer or a client we're working with, on their whole road to full body health. A way of testing the power of the mind is a really simple test. I've told my students to do this time and time again when they don't understand. You know, the younger students, not my doTERRA students. Next time you're carrying a cup, this is really basic. Next time you're carrying a cup of something really hot, like, you know, a hot cup of coffee or tea, get your knuckle and put it really close to where the hot water, the hot liquid is, so that actually you can feel that burning sensation. And then I instantly want you to start saying cold, cold, cold. And I guarantee that that burning hot sensation will suddenly change, and you will not feel that heat any longer. You will actually feel coldness on your finger. Another thing that I've told a few people to do in the past, and they've done it, is if ever you get a blister on your foot and it's burning and you're walking and you can't put a plaster on or you can't stop, start saying in your head, my feet feel good, my feet feel good, my feet feel good. And believe it or not, that pain will start to go away. Test these things if you don't believe it, because trust me, the power in the mind is amazing. And these are little examples of how you can just test it. But how do we enhance the effects of using our essential oils? By working with the power of the mind. Well, here's some research that was done. And it's been listed in the National Library of Medicine. I use this an awful lot when I'm getting my research information, because I want to make sure that it's proper information I'm using. And it talks about the power of combining different modalities to increase positive outcomes. So what I mean by that is combining many and several different things, or one and two different things, so that you'd actually increase the efficacy of an outcome. So what was done here was they had 132, I've not made the word career in bold, because women have a lot of juggling to do, whether they are going out to a career or whether their career is in the home. So it's 132 women with a lot of juggling on their hands between the ages of 24 and 55, carried out voluntarily some research because they were suffering with bad quality of sleep, and also felt that their quality of life was starting to suffer by really struggling at juggling all these different things. So they did a randomized controlled experiment, and they got 4 different criteria that they tested. One was used a placebo group, and the placebo group was just distilled water. One was single oil of lavender. One was massage with acupressure on its own, not with any essential oil. And then one was using a blend of lavender, clary sage and marjoram. And they administered all of this over a 4-week period for 40 minutes a day. And then you can see the results here. Well, if we look at this one here, increase in sleep quality, because when we talk about quality of life, it's very much someone's opinion, so it's an opinionated result that you're giving. But increase of sleep quality was actually measured, so you measured brain pattern, how long someone was asleep for, any disturbed night's sleep. So it was more of a kind of more of an authentic result that was given. So even the placebo effect using just distilled water had a 3% increase in their sleep quality. So that's just the power of the mind. They thought that they were having the right thing, and so their mind improved how they slept purely by placebo. Even the single oil of lavender went up by 23%. Massage and acupressure on its own went up by 39%, and then using a blend went up by 46%. Now, what I will say is, the one thing that I have to pick with this is, when I added up those percentages, it came to over 100. So I don't quite understand the numbers, but you can, I've put the link here and you can read the link yourself, you can read the research yourself to see that actually the two highest were massage, acupressure, and a blend, not a single oil, but a blend of lavender, marjoram and clary sage. So in my thoughts, if you're getting these amazing results of those things on their own, then you can actually enhance the effects even more by combining those two together. So by combining the blend with the acupressure, you're actually increasing even more so that healing effect and outcome that can come about. We look at the acupressure because that was one next to the blend that worked really well. So I call it aroma pressure. It's something that I teach, and it's where we combine an acupressure technique, and I'm not going to talk about massage here, I'm going to show you a technique, an acupressure technique alongside using an essential oil blend. Now, acupressure is where you put pressure onto acupuncture points on your body, and this is quite a blurry visual, so forgive me for that. It was hard to find something that I could actually squeeze into a small enough space, but I just wanted to show you that we have acupuncture points all over our body. We can do ear acupuncture, we can do hand acupuncture, acupressure, which is like hand reflexology. We have foot reflexology where we work on acupuncture, acupressure points. All over our body we have acupressure points, and our face as well. And we're working on different meridians in the body. But a simple technique that we can use to work on acupuncture or acupressure alongside combining it with essential oils will give an amazing result. And I want to share this technique with you today as one of the techniques, and it's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Therapy, Energy Freedom Technique. There's a lot of different kind of names that people call it by, but it's known as EFT. And basically EFT works on so many different issues. I've listed some here. It works on emotional and physical things. So if you're experiencing some kind of pain in your body, it will work on that. And believe me, it can be almost instantaneous that it can work on. It can also work on things like anxiety. It can work on feelings of fear and phobias. It's very effective on, but it's also really good at working on conditions as well. For example, blood pressure. I've worked on people and literally their blood pressure has come down whilst they've been doing this. And Eric Robbins said here, someday the medical profession will wake up and realise that unresolved emotional issues are the main cause of 85% of all illnesses. EFT will be one of the primary healing tools, as it is for me. It offers great healing benefits. Now, we know our aromatherapy oils are so amazingly healing and supporting. Imagine the outcome if you combined it with acupressure as well. It's just amazing. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to share the EFT routine with you. And I want you to follow me and do it as well. And believe me, no one's going to be looking at you. You're going to feel really stupid doing this, but I want you to experience it for yourself. So please go with me if you can. Before we do, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on yourself. Have you got a pain somewhere? Are you feeling a little bit jittery at the moment? Are you feeling like quite tired? Are you feeling, is there any kind of sensation you've got in your body? So just focus on that for a minute or two and give it the score from 0 being not at all to 10 being really, really excruciating. So give that a score. Either write it down if you've got some paper next to you. If you've got a pain in your body, write down the score that that sensation is at the moment. Or if you're anxious or worried, again, write that score down of what you're feeling. Once you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to do some tapping. So you're going to use 2 fingers, or you can use 1 index finger if you want to. I use 2, and you're going to tap this quite hard. So I don't know if you can hear this. Can you hear that quite hard how I'm tapping? And you're going to tap on different parts of your body, and you're going to say certain words. And as you can see here, each of the parts of the body we're going to be tapping on are all in the upper part of the body, so they're a lot easier to work on. And these are all the organs or body systems that they relate to. And so this is all the different things we'll be working on. And when you are using oils with this, but we're just going to not use oils for now, we're just going to do the tapping, you would choose the oil or the blend that is most best linked to that condition you're suffering with, and then you would apply it to your hands and your neck and your chest before you start this tapping technique. So once you've given yourself the score, you're going to create a setup phrase. So if my concern was worry, then I would say, even though I feel really worried, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you say that 3 times. If yours is pain, you would say, even though I have this pain in my, wherever it is, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay. So I'm going to use the word worried, and I want you just to change what you say to what I say. You don't have to say it out loud, but you're all on mute, so you can if you want. Okay. So you start by tapping on what's known as the karate chop, which is the bony side of your hand. Okay. And you're going to say, even though I feel really worried, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel really worried, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel really worried, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you move your tapping up to the top of your head and you say worried, or in your case, pain. You tap on that and it's kind of here in the middle. Worried, worried. And then you're going to go down to the inner eyebrow. Worried, worried. And then the outer eyebrow. Worried, worried. And then you're going to do under the eye. Worried, worried. Now you're going to say where it is. If you have pain, you can say in my back or in my whatever it is. Okay, but I'm just going to keep saying worried. And then you do the Cupid's bow. Worried or pain. And then the chin. Worried. Now you're going to tap on a part that's known as a sore spot, which is in the upper chest area. And it's around about here for those of you that can see. It's in this area here. It's known as the sore spot. If you press it, you'll feel when it's quite sensitive, and that's the sore spot. And you can say worried, worried. Now the weird bit, under your armpit, tapping under your armpit, worried, worried. So once you've done that, you can then move on to tapping on the outside of your thumb. And then you say, I'm going to let it go. And then you tap the out, so you're doing the outside of the thumb, then you do the outside of the index finger, you do each of the fingers, the outside. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm letting it go. And then the little finger, I'm letting it go. Okay, once you've done that, you're then going to tap here, which is in between your little and your ring finger in the middle. And you can either tap that or you can rub it, whichever you prefer. And you can say, I'm going to let it go. And then this is the bit where you feel really stupid. You close your eyes, you take a deep breath in. This is where the oils start really working. Take a deep breath in and then out. And then you open your eyes, carrying on tapping, and you lower your eyes to the bottom left and up again. And you lower your eyes to the bottom right and up again. And then once you've done that, you roll your eyes round one way, keeping your head still, and you roll your eyes round another way, keeping your head still. And this is where I sound baloney, but trust me, go with it. Close your eyes again, count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. still tapping. Hum a tune. Count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then open your eyes, rub your hands. Now you'll be buzzing. And then if any of you've been falling around, focus on that sensation you felt before, and now give it a score between 1 and 10. Has the sensation, has it changed to something else? Has it moved? Has it gone? Write that score down. Now, in most cases, it will have gone down or it will have moved somewhere else. I know that's a real kind of like whistle-stop tour of doing EFT, but using that alongside working with your oils, honest to goodness, the healing potential is amazing, and this can really benefit an awful lot of people. It's very, very self-empowering as well. So that's the EFT technique. Now, obviously, you pause this later, spend some time looking at it, practicing on yourself. Humming and counting works on the left and the right side of the brain. It's a lot to go into in like a small amount of time like this, but it's one way of combining modalities of aromatherapy and acupressure in quite a simple way, because you're tapping on the upper part of your body, so you're not having to think about acupuncture points and things like that. Okay, but it's a really powerful way of working with people. Hopefully anybody that was working on something like pain, the sensation hopefully will have gone down. So please, by all means, share if you had a change of how you felt. So that's acupressure. The Power of the Mind in Health and Healing is a book that was written by Dr. Holden, and he talks about how by working with energies, which is what we're doing when we work with EFT, and the body and the mind, we can achieve miraculous things. And what I'm saying is, imagine what healing could take place if you added the healing power of essential oils to the healing power of the mind and energy by acupressure. The powers of healing would be amazing, and so it's really worth spending some time learning that. Now, another one I wanted to go on to, I hope I'm not going over time, I'm sure I am, and I really apologise if I am. If you want me to stop, please stop me, Andy or Lisa. But for any of you that have done my emotional aromatherapy course, you'll know that I talk a lot about something called Shinrin Yoku, which is Japanese forest bathing. Okay, now the benefits of Japanese forest bathing are amazing. I've got like literally a minute video to show you. I hope it's going to play. Is that playing? Can you nod if you can hear it and see it? Perfect. So for any of you that want to read more about forest bathing, but we can use essential oils to do exactly the same thing as if we were to go into a forest, because not all of us have forests on our doorstep. There's a really lovely book called Your Guide to Forest Bathing by Amos Clifford, and it talks about the healing power of walking amongst trees and what they do, and basically carrying Shinrin Yoku out. Let me move on to the next one. Oh, there we go. But in a nutshell, basically Shinrin Yoku can reduce stress hormone production, cortisol and adrenaline, can also help improve those feelings of happiness, leave you to be a little bit more joyful about life, so maybe you can be a little bit more creative, lowers heart rates, lowers blood pressure, can boost the immune system, even accelerates cellular recovery from illness. Imagine adding essential oils to this in order to increase that even more so. And we can do that by using the power of the mind alongside our essential oils. And we can do this by using a forest walk meditation, which has got the sounds of just being in a forest. And so therefore the power of the mind starts to release those neurochemicals and hormones into the whole of our body to start working on our blood pressure, working on our heart rate, working on our immune function. But alongside that, by combining it with essential oils, then the results can be even more impressive. So I said that using tree oils in particular will obviously enhance a forest walk meditation, because you're getting similar aromas that you would get if you were walking amongst trees. And so I've put some oils here that in particular will help with anyone that's suffering with an awful lot of issues, like the ones I've just mentioned: cedarwood, eucalyptus, frankincense, spruce, myrrh, arborvitae, nootka, sandalwood, cypress, or our beautiful Forgive blend, which has got a lot of those already in it. Tree oils give you a feeling of support, stability, confidence, inner confidence, and they just give you that feeling that you can cope with what life throws at you. So using oils alongside a forest meditation is a beautiful experience. I've put a link here to the best forest meditation I can find. Jason Stevenson's got a lovely relaxing voice, and the sound effects that are in this meditation are really realistic. He films it in a forest. So close your eyes, lie back, put your diffuser on, put some tree blend oils or the Forgive blend in your diffuser, or cup and inhale, and then listen to that forest meditation, and you will get the same healing benefits of Shinrin Yoku alongside the same healing benefits as our essential oils. I've also put here a site called meditainment.com. It's a free site. It has 20 guided meditations on it. So what you can actually do is you can look for the oil blend that goes with the meditation. So for example, there's a really good one I use a lot, and it's a pain management meditation. Pain management for pain relief, and honestly, it really does work. Well, combining that with the Deep Blue blend is a double whammy of healing going on there. And again, the falling asleep meditation, combining that with Serenity, again is doubling the effects of your healing capacity. So look at what meditations you want to work on, and then look at the oil blend or oils that you can use. Things like the Mountain Refuge for motivation, using citrus oils are really good for motivation. Or we've got the Motivate blend that you can use alongside that meditation. That combines the power of the mind and the power of our oils as well. And again, I'm going to close now just by saying that there are other things as well you can combine. We've got some amazing resources on chakras and the oils you can use with different chakras. So you can see the recommended oils here and the different chakras you can work on. So you can apply that oil blend to the chakra that you're working on, and that will create healing intention. And the mind will start creating healing before the oils even have a chance to work. Again, I've talked about meditation. Crystals is another one. And obviously using foot reflexology or hand reflexology alongside essential oils is also a really powerful way of combining different modalities to improve your healing. So that's me done. I've no idea how long I've gone for, so I apologise if I've gone over, but please experiment with all these different things that you can combine to increase the efficacy of our essential oils, because the potential for healing is just amazing. Thank you for listening.
Rachel, that was amazing. Really, really amazing. Absolutely fantastic. There's a few questions in the chat. I don't know whether you're able, if you're okay for me to ask you a few questions. Are you okay for a few moments?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh, I've just seen somebody couldn't hear me. Oh my God, I hope that I'm okay. You can hear me okay now?
Yeah, I think it must have been their system, and it was recorded,
okay.
So we'll be able to send that to her. So no, don't worry about that.
Perfect.
So you know, I appreciate how difficult it is, as you say, when you're trying to stay compliant and when you're doing that kind of presentation. And we know that obviously we're amongst friends, and this is sort of in a closed group.
Yeah, I really struggle, Lisa. I really do.
I know. So on that subject, there was a question. The actual question itself isn't compliant, but I'll ask it because it's been asked in there, about dementia, and just is inhalation the best way to use the oils with a patient that has dementia?
Yes, because you're working on the limbic part of the brain, so therefore that is the best way of using them. Putting them in a diffuser is a really safe way as well, depending on the age of the person. If it's somebody who's older, maybe the frailty of somebody and things like that. And obviously it's a much safer way of using them as well. So definitely the best way is working with diffusing.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's some great feedback here. Dawn Banks said her pain actually went while you were actually going through the exercise, which is amazing.
Wonderful.
Brilliant. Janet said, do you need to repeat on both sides of the body?
No, that's the beauty of it. And actually I swap and change as well. So like when I'm working on my tapping, I'll maybe tap on this side as I did in the talk just now. I was tapping on the right side for these parts, but then I was working on my left hand. It doesn't matter at all.
So it's not like sort of massage where you have to sort of balance the body out. You can just okay. Amazing. So Margaret mentions that Dr. Riggs actually talks about forest bathing in webvention. So that's very topical right now. Yeah, everyone just showing their appreciation, Rachel. We'd love you to come. Do you know what I was thinking while you were talking? You know, the thing is, when you're so amazing at things, you just get asked more and more. So I was just thinking how amazing it would be able to share this with all our customers on one of our events that we do on a Thursday night. So I'll speak to Andy about that, and if you're up for that, we'd love to.
You know, I don't mind at all.
I'm sure you'd all love that, wouldn't you, ladies and gents, to be able to invite your customers to listen to Rachel. So that would be great. Yeah, absorbed every word. Thank you. Everyone's loving it. Absolutely loving it. Lots of lots of appreciation there in the
Somebody
chat.
asked about asthma. What about asthma, knowing that they have issues with inhalation? Well, what I have to say on asthma is that I actually, and I know it's non-compliant, but what the heck, I actually cured my own asthma myself through the blend. I did put it on my presentation, the blend, but I combined the 3 oils of frankincense, eucalyptus and lavender. And I applied the oil every day. I did put the blend on the talk, so just rewind it back or whatever when you look. I applied it every single morning and every single night in this area here, and I also did cupping and inhaling really deeply, and I also used a breathing technique called the Buteyko breathing, not potato but Buteyko, Buteyko, and I came off all inhalers, all steroid medication.
Wow.
Completely, and I don't suffer from it at all now. And I also used a salt inhaler to support it as well. So I know it's non-compliant, but it's hard to talk about success stories of healing and being compliant. It's impossible to do. So actually inhaling those oils is a really effective way of working on asthma.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rachel, again.
Thank you so
absolutely much. Wonderful. Thank you. So while we're on that subject of a Thursday night, of course, we have a Thursday night coming up in 2 days' time or 3 days' time. And we have our next in the series of essential health classes. It's Andy who's going to be up next. So he has got a great evening planned for you on Thursday night for you and your customers. So we'll be opening the room at 8:20 for an 8:30 start. And this is a winning topic, isn't it? How to reduce feelings of anxiety and distress, especially at this time. The amount of people that speak with me, and I'm sure they do you too, about just how they're coping right now with anxiety levels. They're at an all-time high. So I really believe this is going to be a great one. So don't forget that you can invite your customers, you can invite your potential customers and potential advocates, and obviously you can call up stuff. If you do remember when Andy first did the training video about how you set up your own events to advertise this, he did say we were going to sort of limit the amount of people that were existing advocates into this, because we only had a room of 100 people. But we now have upgraded it, the Royal We, Andy has upgraded it to 500 people. So that means that everyone is welcome. So please do come along for not only, to be there for your guests and people you invite, but for your own continued education as well. So go to the Essential Health Class Facebook group, and you will see in there a post from Andy with some content for you to use to set up your own events. And there's also a video on there to explain how to set those events up if you're not quite sure how to do that. So as I say, the video but we do have 500 now. Set your events and then co-host me or Andy into your events. I've had quite a few of you that already co-hosted me in already, so I know you're excited to do this and to invite your customers and friends and people along. Make it private on your own timeline, and also allow your friends to invite friends so that we can get more people touched by this subject. And then if it's in a group, then anyone in the group can add others, but they need to actually be in the group. So if you want to add somebody in, they have to be in the group. So you just have to add people into the group so that they can be added. So once you've set it up, make sure you keep the conversation going so you can see who's ticked going, or maybe make sure that you're reaching out to people. And then
Lisa, can I just jump in for a
put
sec?
the link in.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
but
say, when you
something
put,
wrong.
no, that's fine. When you're saying group there, you mean event. Just don't want people getting.
Okay.
Is that what there's?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just double
Yeah.
checking. I know some people.
Yeah, sorry. What I meant by that, Andy, is if you're putting the event in your group,
Ah, right. Okay.
the people that you invite into the event have to be in your group to be able to invite them in.
No worries.
Okay.
I'll keep quiet. You carry on.
Okay. Okay, it's not the household detox this week. We've done that one. It is the it is the anxiety. So the next class, oh, don't know where that come from, but the next class is Thursday night at 8:30. So it's going to be amazing. Just make sure that you can make these things your own. That's the great thing about them. Although, once you're actually in the group, once you've got people, for some reason it's gone back to my team call on the 11th of May. Once you've got people looking at your event, you could just make it your own. So it is, we're going to be there, we're going to be supporting, and is going to put a brilliant presentation together for people to learn about this subject. But just all you need to do is actually the top and tailing of it. So bring people in, keep the conversation going, and then of course the most important thing of all, you all know what I'm going to say, is the follow-up afterwards. Because people come in, they get excited about what they hear, but they forget why they get excited very quickly afterwards. So that's where you come in to follow up with them quickly afterwards, find out what they loved about it, and where you're going to support them from there. Okay, so we'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Have a great week. Enjoy the sunshine. Hope you all got some good vitamin D today. Certainly was a good day for it. And again, Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Great training. So
My
see
pleasure.
you all on Thursday. Don't forget to co-host us into your events, and